Well, should Albuquerque lower the penalties for small amounts of pot? It's been debated before, but this time two city councilors think they have new momentum from voters. But there's still one major roadblock. News 13's Chris McKee explains.
People have spoken.
We've heard loud and clear.
I will be vetoing a bill.
There are different viewpoints over what Albuquerque should do, over what more Americans are changing their mind about.
Marijuana is marijuana.
The more people you know who smoke pot.
And for a second time, Albuquerque City Council could decide whether people caught with small amounts of pot should face lower penalties.
I think so, and that's the hope.
Council President Ray Garduno is reintroducing his bill to lower pot penalties in Albuquerque, alongside Councilor Isaac Benton.
I definitely wanted to support it.
The new bill could change city ordinance to let police give just a $25 ticket if you're caught with an ounce of pot or less. Councilors backing it say it's less hassle for people and officers over a low-level crime.
It's about allocating our precious police resources.
This is to say, young people, we're not here to catch you. We're not here to criminalize you.
Mayor Barry vetoed the same bill last year.
Flying in the face of federal and state law pertaining to the decriminalization of possession of an illegal drug.
Well, about 60% of Bernalillo County voters supported decriminalization efforts in a poll question on the November ballot. The mayor says he'll still veto it.
I do hope that the mayor will reconsider his position.
The 5 Democratic councilors will likely need a Republican vote to override the mayor's veto. We called them tonight.
This is a message for Councilor Lewis, Councilor Winter, the Councilor Don Harris, and Councilor Jones.
But none of them got back to us. Chris McKee, KRQE News 13.
The bill will get introduced in City Council next week and could be voted on by the 21st. Councilors need 6 votes to get past the mayor's veto. It was an emotional day in court as the 3 men accused of killing a Manzano high school student pleaded not guilty.
They took my son, and I will never get to see him.
Christopher Cruz, Nicholas Gonzalez, and Donovan Maez are accused of a drive-by shooting that killed Jaden Chavez Silver. Police say Chavez Silver was not the intended target. Yesterday in court, the parents of Chavez Silver begged the judge to keep the 3 locked up.
Because it's not just his life now. These 3 individuals took his life that I will never get back. And it's worth more than $250,000 cash.
The judge set each of their bonds at $250,000 cash only. Deputies in eastern New Mexico have cracked a 12-year-old murder case. The Curry County Sheriff's Office says 67-year-old William Haddix was arrested Thursday in Illinois for the murder of a Clovis businessman in 2003. Deputies say Haddix shot and killed the victim at Tucker Self-Storage near Cannon Air Force Base, then made a team destroy the firearm he used. Now, during the 12-year investigation, deputies say they interviewed more than 100 people. We're learning more about the death of a 15-year-old Farmington boy. Nefi Sivi, a Piedra Vista student, disappeared on August 13th. His body was found 4 days later at the bottom of a 37-foot cliff. Police say while OMI is still determining the cause of death, the injuries found on his body are consistent with the fall, including a broken hip, a brain bleed, and he was severely dehydrated. Police do not suspect foul play. A piece of history stolen from the historic Lincoln County Courthouse. It happened early Thursday morning when police say thieves took a 1921 Thompson Navy submachine gun, or Tommy gun. It was on display in the Lincoln County Courthouse for a few years. The Tommy gun is fully functional and uses a fairly common type of bullet, and it's worth a lot of money.
Just because of the age and the type of the gun it is, this gun has a lot of value and a lot of type of historical and sentimental value to the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office.
The sheriff says a reward will be offered for information leading to an arrest of the thief. A 16-year-old was yanked through a McDonald's drive-thru window in Louisiana, and it was all caught on camera. The sheriff's department says the girl recorded the violent behavior and posted it online. 20-year-old Branica Gregor, 18-year-old Sierra Gregor, and a 16-year-old were arrested and charged with disturbing the peace. 17-year-old Kaylin Holland, the girl seen pulling the 16-year-old out of the window, was arrested and booked with second-degree battery charges. The victim suffered minor injuries. A company is offering a $50,000 reward for the capture of the men who killed an Illinois police officer. The reward is coming from Motorola Solutions. Many of the company's employees live in the area of Fox Lake, where the lieutenant was murdered Tuesday. Police have been on an all-out manhunt searching for 3 suspects. Police say Stephen Casals, the man accused of killing his 9-year-old stepson, told them at least 3 different stories about what happened the night Omari Varela died. This morning, we're hearing from Casals himself. News 13's Lizzie reports.
First, Stephen Casals told police he was at a friend's house when 9-year-old Omari Varela got hurt nearly 2 years ago. The story didn't make sense.
So what actually happened today?
He admitted he was at home and he heard stumbles in another room, like Omari and his mother, Cynthia Varela Casals, were, quote, wrestling.
I just heard my saying, I'm sorry, I'll stop, I'll be good.
Casals told detectives what may have started it.
I think because then he peed on himself and she found out that he was trying to die her, because he does that a lot.
Doctors say Omari died of blunt force trauma to his stomach, giving him about an hour to get to the hospital before his chances of surviving dropped.
That hour is very crucial.
The defense argued the internal injuries may not have been obvious.
Children can appear okay and then suddenly drop precipitously.
Still, witness testimony shows no one called 911 for at least an hour after Omari got hurt, something that even surprised Casals.
Are you serious? I don't even know. I must have latched on at the time then.
But Casals never called police. His wife did. Detectives pressed the issue. Later, same question, different answer.
Why didn't you call 911? Because I don't know where the phones were at.
He eventually admitted he was scared and didn't want anybody to get in trouble. Police also asked Casals about his swollen hands.
You guys get to fight and punch some things? I'm just worried about it.
No, my hands are fine.
About a half hour later, unprovoked, Casals brought up his hands again, saying, truth is, it's because he did heroin. In fact, he did it, he says, when Omari suffered his deadly injuries.
It was this morning actually when I was in the bathroom.
Lizzie KRQE News 13.
The defense emphasized that after all of that, officers escorted Casals out that day without arresting him, like they arrested Cynthia Varela Casals. Prosecutors finished calling witnesses this week. The trial will start again Tuesday afternoon. Omari's little sister says she saw both her mother and father abuse Omari.
What happened?
He got hurt.
How did you get hurt?
He got hit.
Who did that?
My dad and my mom.
The 7-year-old testified in court yesterday. She says Omari was screaming for help during the beating. Giving her testimony from another room, the girl told prosecutors her stepdad, Stephen Casals, is just as guilty as her mom. But the defense trying to show that her mother's family coaxed her into pinning the murder on her stepdad.
Now, do you remember your auntie telling you that your daddy would be in jail for a long time for what he did to Omari? Yeah.
The child's testimony is the most direct accusation against Casals that we've heard so far. Now stay with us as we continue to follow the trial. You can also watch the trial live next week at KRQE.com and on our KRQE News app. A 4-year-old New Mexico boy who was the focus of an Amber Alert has been found safe. State police say 4-year-old Kingston Rodriguez and his mom, Katrina Bryant, were found at a home in Kennewick, Washington yesterday. Bryant fled with the boy earlier this week after losing custody. Kingston will be brought back to New Mexico after he's medically cleared. The final man accused of killing a Denny's cook has been convicted. Francisco Melgar Cabrera and 2 others held up the Denny's on Coors in 2009. 34-year-old Stephanie Anderson was killed when one of the suspects slipped and his gun went off. Melgar Cabrera fled to El Salvador. He was extradited last year. He faces life in prison for the murder. His accomplices have already been convicted and sentenced. People in Albuquerque are using a new Facebook group to take matters into their own hands and find their stolen cars. Allison Glenna created the page ABQ Alert after thieves stole her mom's car. People can post pictures and info about their stolen cars. Glenna wants to make sure no one else has to go through what her mom did. So far, it has helped track down 2 cars.
So this is a way of all of Albuquerque getting together, trying to help track a vehicle down.
APD says more than 400 cars are reported stolen every month, and a site like this is a big help. Thousands of exhausted migrants are in Austria this morning. Charity workers are giving them a warm welcome. Police say about 4,000 migrants arrived in Austria, mostly from Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Austria officials expect up to 3,000 more migrants later today. Now they're fleeing from countries in the Middle East and Africa that are stricken with extreme violence and poverty. Caught on camera, police in Maryland raced to save a man from a burning car. 2 officers tried to pull the man out, but the flames were too intense. That's when 2 more officers arrived on scene to help, armed with fire extinguishers. One of the cops used his baton to lift up the hot door handle, but then a tire exploded. Eventually, they managed to get the man out. He suffered severe burns, but is expected to survive. New Mexico is part of a multi-state Salmonella outbreak involving cucumbers grown in Mexico. The State Department of Health is investigating 15 cases across the state. Nationally, there have been 285 cases of Salmonella in 27 states, all linked to the cucumbers. Well, Kraft is expanding its cheese recall, saying the packaging problem affects 10 times as many cases of Kraft singles. The packaging could stick to the slice and be a choking hazard. The cases all have a manufacturing code of S54 or S55. New Mexico has one of the best vaccination rates in the country. Health officials say we're the 10th best in the nation for kids between 19 and 35 months. We sit at 75.9%, a jump of 10% in 1 year's time. Health officials say the measles outbreak earlier this year helped raise awareness and boost numbers. A robber in Brazil messed with the wrong woman. You can see the suspect in a lion killer chokehold by MMA champion Monique Bastos. The suspect had been following Bastos and finally cornered her, demanding her cell phone. Bastos jumped into action, pinning the would-be robber's head in between her legs and locking his neck until police arrived. The robber was screaming, "Call the police. I swear this was the first time I've done this. Lord help me. Somebody help me." We're kicking off